This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by Next 1000.
But I've always tried to comprehend what it was that is actually going on here, specifically on the nature of jurisdiction.
As I said, I'm not going to go any further than this. This is the third time.
It was an absolutely exhausting day for me because I was in court for the supermajority of it, having arrived at approximately 8:45-ish this morning and not leaving until well after 2 this afternoon, having been sitting on the defense stand for the majority of that time, having facing 3 charges today. Finally, the biggie of the day was the Class A misdemeanor of criminal trespass.
They're getting Mike too. And
what? Oh my God.
And Ian. Oh shit.
And I was
walking around a building.
Yeah, well, right. I was there with 3 other co-defendants in that criminal trespass case. And there was some moments during the day that were positive. It could have been worse, I suppose.
It wasn't good.
It was not good. And it's up here in New Hampshire. We've got the Free State Project. Liberty-minded people are gathering here in order to get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Some of the things that are being done as a part of that are supporting people that are in jail.
Attention, Kurt Hoffman. Your friends are outside.
There's people doing politics and civil disobedience, and sometimes when somebody gets busted for civil disobedience, then they end up in the pokey. And it's nice to
It happens, yes.
Yeah, it's nice for them to know that there's somebody on the outside that cares about them. So we had gone to the local jailhouse in order to find one of our friends that was being held there. And that was back in, I think, April when we did this. And what we were doing wasn't really unusual in that we'd been to the jail before. Now, it used to be in an old location because they built a brand new jail. But at the old location, and Puke, you'd been out to do this, I believe.
Yeah, I've been at the old jail in Westmoreland several times, and it was right next to the road. The parking lot was directly in front of the building. There were no signs saying no trespassing, and there was a field across the street from it where we would go and park and do our demonstrations.
Well, that effectively was part of the parking lot. There was this little shed out there, and it had a big camera
the field
on it.
was part of it, yeah.
Right, and so that was an extension of the jail's parking lot. It wasn't very far away from the jail at all. It was literally, like you said, across the street. And never once did we have an issue with any of the jail guards being upset or telling us to leave. We had cookouts and, barbecuing things out there and spending literally, hours out there
just
playing
voluntarily hanging out of the jail,
playing frisbee,
doing things
football.
like waiting. Well, like some of the things we would do there would be to come out to wait for somebody to come out of jail or attend with them when they were turning themselves in. And so it was a regular occurrence. It wasn't an unusual thing for us to go and do this. So when they built this new jail, we decided we were going to go out and support our friends. At the old jail, we would walk around the jail. So it wasn't secure in any way. There wasn't any sort of fencing that would prevent you from going around the jail.
Yeah, it's not actually controlled in any way. There is no fence. There's no gates. There's no barriers of any kind. It might have it should have been a parking lot in Walmart.
Yeah, there was a fence around the yard that the inmates had, but that's it.
Well, that's obviously so they can't get out, but it doesn't restrict anybody from being anywhere near the building.
Yeah, and as you said, no signage, and that's one thing that did change between the old jail and the new jail. The new jail's got no trespassing signs up everywhere, which is confusing because it's a public property.
Well, it's interesting.
And it's not secure.
What do you mean it's not secure?
There's not even a gate. There's nothing else beyond the no trespassing signs to alert you that you're not supposed to be there.
Well, the only reason the trespassing signs are there is because you guys were hanging out in the old jail.
I believe that to be the truth as well. And there's even a public parking area.
That old jail wasn't the only place that you guys did this. You've done it at the Manchester jail too, and done your whole walk around the jail. Maybe the walls will fall kind of thing. And I think that it's silly to make such a big deal about it, but what they're trying to do is prevent it from happening again in the future. And
that's right.
So far, they've been successful. Nobody's gone back. So they win.
They win. That's right. And so they cracked down. They claim that they told us to leave, which none of us heard.
Well, one guy sort of yelled it from 100 yards away.
So
maybe,
he claims, yeah,
he said it to himself.
Yeah,
certainly. I was photographing the event, and I wasn't even anywhere near the main group, so I certainly didn't hear any of it because I was at least 100 yards away from you guys photographing, and I was like up on the hill, and so nobody told me, that's for certain.
So we're in there today, and they're going after us for criminal trespass. They'd arrested a dozen of us. They ended up keeping the charges against 9 people or something like that. One guy's already been found guilty in a trial that happened about a month ago, and the other trials are going to be in another month, I think. So 4 people were on trial today. And I was calling us the awesome foursome, because you know how they have the names for the lawyer teams, like the Dream Team and things like that. So we were up there, and basically, let's see. The claim was that well, first of all, there's 2 different levels of offense for a criminal trespass. There's a violation, and that's like a ticket, and then there's a misdemeanor charge. And they had charged us with Class A misdemeanors, which means that we get a jury trial if we want one, down the line. And also, obviously, there's a little bit more involved as far as punishment, supposedly, in that case. But in order to prove a Class A misdemeanor, they have to prove that you were given some sort of notice that you needed to leave.
You'd think they'd also have to prove some sort of criminal intent. Simply protesting and wandering around outside should not be a criminal act, but obviously this is...
We didn't think it was, considering we'd been there before and done the very same thing at the old jail. And so they were unable to prove their case. And this was kind of one of the wins, right? This is a damage reduction, although I don't know how much different the sentence would have been had we been convicted of the misdemeanor, because I ended up with a $1,000 fine, which is going to turn
into 20%. That would have been
a month in jail.
Yeah.
So yeah, about $1,200 something dollars. And the other people got lesser fines, which was strange, which basically was the judge punishing me for having been there before.
Right. Well, you got a $500 fine, as I understand it, and then
it was $1,000 with $500 suspended.
Hold on. So you had a $1,000 fine, $500 of it suspended,
right? And
then somehow or another you stated something to the judge like, "I don't pay."
Yeah, he asked if I would be able to pay the fine. And I said I don't pay fines to criminal organizations, and he said that
he didn't like that.
It's language like that. Now you're going to have $1,000,
right? Which I think is. Like I can see why it's done. Like you're not respecting my courtroom, but there's no other place in the world where this kind of interaction would occur, where it's all about the disrespect. You have disrespected me, so therefore you must be punished further. I mean, this is a very, sort of paternalistic kind of situation, and
it's very petty.
Yeah.
Why is it that hundreds of liberty lovers have moved and continue to move to New Hampshire? In part, it's because of the Free State Project's first 1,000 pledge. The success of that pledge gave this man an idea. Max Abramson of New Hampshire is starting what he calls the Next 1,000 Pledge, designed to get another 1,000 Free Staters into New Hampshire by 2011. To find out more, visit pledgebank.com/next1000.